Welcome to the Minorities Report podcast special Zack Snyder edition of Justice League. I'm your host, Antonio Alcazar.
And I'm Jason Technor Studios.
Okay, Jason, you and I, this last week, we watched the Zack Snyder version of Justice League.
So, arguably, the original version of what he wanted to put on.
Do you believe that? Just like full disclosure, do you believe that this was his original vision, or do you think that when Warner Brothers said, we're going to give you some money to go back and redo it, he was just like, okay, well, I'm going to run as wild as I fucking can with it?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You've known me for, what is it, 2 years now we've known each other?
2.5 years, yeah.
Do you know me to be a Zack Snyder simp?
No, definitely not.
Then why would I believe that stupid shit?
So you do think that he was just like, okay, well then I'm just going to make something completely new.
Not only did I believe that he was, I don't believe any single thing that a Zack Snyder fan tells me. I want to make that clear. If you're a Zack Snyder fan, you are a liar.
So, but you do think that there was some Zack Snyder cut.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, well, now that I have free reign, I'm just
an unfinished version of what he wanted to originally do.
Sure.
That was handed over to Warner Brothers, that was then cut up because they were like, because I'm sure he probably had like 3.5 to 4 hours of footage.
Okay.
And Warner Brothers was like, dude, we need you to turn this into a 2-hour movie.
Sure, yeah.
'Cause it was like 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They cut 2 full hours.
Yeah. And like, here's the thing, watching the movie. Okay, there's a few things. I'm gonna hammer hard on the Snyder fans right away. Okay?
Well, do we want to get into what we thought?
Do we want to start off with that?
Yeah. Let's start off with what you thought.
Yeah.
You go first.
Absolutely. So, I saw, you know me, I'm a DC fan.
Yeah.
Superman's my favorite superhero.
Yes. Yeah.
I love Batman. I love the Batman villains. I am a DC fan first and foremost.
Yes.
When Zack Snyder first was signed on for DC, I had mixed emotions.
Okay.
He wasn't handpicked by Chris Nolan, but Chris Nolan thought he could be a good choice for it. Okay. And he did Watchmen, and he did at the time back in the day, I loved 300, and I really liked Dawn of the Dead a lot. Yeah. Now,
his subsequent work, did it change 300 for you? Because I really liked 300 when it came out, and now I go back and watch 300. I'm just like, this is some Zack Snyder bullshit.
I think it just hasn't aged well either.
Okay,
like
sure.
I've rewatched it. And I'm like, this isn't even. I wouldn't even consider this good anymore.
Sure.
Like,
okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, but it's kind of like we do when we do our normal show of the '80s movies. It's hard to go. We have good technology, so this technology sucks. So, it is what it is. But, like, the Samurai Schoolgirl movie he did sucked.
Oh, my God. I remember, that's
Sucker
called
Punch.
Sucker Punch, yeah. When I saw that in the theater, I was just like, wow, this was bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Man of Steel came out. When I first saw Man of Steel, I did not like it. I just didn't enjoy it. I was like, I'm a Superman fan. And even worse was, like, I love the character who played Zod, because he played in the show Boardwalk Empire, and he was like one of the best characters in that show.
Yeah,
so I was
actor.
I love that guy, and I was so excited, and then I was just disappointed in the movie. Like, it wasn't bad, it just wasn't good, and like the end just went on forever, and there was just so many things.
You were a Superman fan, though,
yeah,
and that was a departure from Superman.
I know only,
as far as
I know one person who says his. There's a guy I chat with. He runs a podcast as well, and he's on my Facebook, and his favorite hero is Superman. He's the only Superman person I know that loves Man of Steel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But who had been
a Superman fan beforehand, right? Yeah.
I didn't know enough about Superman when I saw that movie, so I didn't realize how much of a departure. But just from the world, after that movie came out, it was pretty clear that it was a very different take on Superman.
And so I watched that, and I was kind of indifferent. I've rewatched it later on, and I was like, okay, this is a fine movie. I would equate it to Star Trek, J.J. Abrams, where it is a very passable, fine movie. It just isn't a Star Trek movie.
Okay.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
Passable, fine movie. It just ain't a Superman movie, okay? Yeah. Then came BVS. When I first saw it, I was like, this is fine. It's not bad, not good.
The first time you saw Batman
The first time I saw it, I was like, okay, I love the Wonder Woman stuff.
Okay.
And like overall, I was like, oh, I like the suit. I just thought that they tried to do too much, which was clear because they tried to push two storylines together with the Dark Knight Returns, and then the death of Superman.
Sure, yeah. Because the death of Superman, that was against, what was his name?
Doomsday.
Yeah.
And he sacrifices himself to stop Doomsday or whatever. And so same kind of thing. And then
Doomsday movie would have been good without the BVS stuff.
Of course.
And then, vice versa.
Of course. But it was clear, I think, in part that Warner Brothers was like, you need to fast track things because we want to get to Justice League.
Yeah.
Then Justice League was announced. And I remember it coming down the pipe and Zack Snyder was doing it. And I was like, I'm indifferent, but, it's a movie. I'm going to see it. When he started having issues and then Whedon was brought in, I was like, all right, now I like where this is going.
Why?
Because I loved Avengers. And I was one of the few people at the time who actually I enjoyed Age of Ultron. Now, in hindsight, I don't like it as much, but at the time I did. So he had 2 superhero movies I enjoyed quite a bit. Zack Snyder had 0 superhero movies I enjoyed quite a bit. So I was like, all right, let's do this. And then I saw the movie in the theater and I was like, okay. My girlfriend thought it was fun. I thought it was fun, but I was just like, this doesn't even make sense, really. And there's a lot of things that just were weird, but like, okay. And there was a lot of humor. And I was like, wow, Zack added a lot of humor to this, but I get it because he did Avengers.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of...
you meant.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Josh added a lot of humor to this movie. And then...
Which was... Did you think maybe a good thing after how much a dour?
Of course,
Zack Snyder was so dour.
I was just shocked that it was as much humor as it was, and Flash was kind of. I felt though Flash was very influenced by Spider-Man from Civil War.
Okay,
he was. They shot him way younger than what people had been doing, and he was a jokester and all this. And now Flash is somewhat of a jokester. But not to the level Spider-Man is, and they really cranked it a bit, awkwardness and like these awkward. So that was kind of how I felt about that movie. Then we started getting into other DC movies, and Aquaman came, and I thought that was serviceable. Wonder Woman I thought was quite good, but that was before Justice League technically. Aquaman I thought was serviceable. Shazam I liked quite a bit. Not Suicide Squad. Harley Quinn, when I saw it, I thought it was fine.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah, Birds of Prey. Rewatching it, didn't really like it that much. There's still things I like, but there's a lot I don't like. And then Shazam, of course, I love. That's one of our... And then Joker. I love Joker, okay? So I was like, everything is going in the right direction. And then they announced that they're actually going to do the Snyder Cut. And I was like, this is the exact opposite of what I want. Because I want DC to continue moving forward past Zack Snyder. Then they announced it was going to be 5 episodes, hour-long episodes. And I was like, okay, now I'm on board. Like, HBO does miniseries well. Let's do this shit.
I remember you telling me there's no way that it's not going to be good because HBO wouldn't allow it on their network.
Exactly. I did tell you that, right? And then it was explained that couldn't happen. And it was going to be a 4-hour movie release. And the reason it couldn't happen was because of a technicality when it came to contracts. Because the contracts with the actors were for a movie.
Oh, okay.
And if they re-released it as a TV show, they would have to redo the contracts for extra pay to the actors. And of course, Warner Brothers isn't going to do that shit. So
Warner Brothers is like, listen, $70 more million is what you get.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
Yeah.
So
I was surprised to hear that they had forked over another $70 million for this movie.
So I watched this movie. And I would not say I was disappointed.
Oh.
Because you cannot be disappointed when you expect dog shit. Okay? I expected bad, and I got slightly less than atrocious. Okay?
Yeah.
I got better than Josh Whedon.
Okay.
And that's the best I can say for it positively.
Sure, yeah.
Okay? Those are my feelings. I thought it was a fucking waste of time. If I'm completely honest, I'm happy for anybody who enjoyed it.
Sure, oh yeah.
Any Zack Simps out there that... I'm sorry, I don't mean to say this. Any Zack Snyder fans that enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Because you don't...
It's easy to think, though, that it's simps.
I don't want to say simps.
No,
because
I get it.
I'll get to why I think certain people are simps later.
I was going to say, because this is, for Zack Snyder specifically, it's hard to, unless you're some kind of simp, and, like some kind of like apologist, it's hard to believe anybody would like Zack Snyder's work. So like I get why simp is an easy word to use.
Yeah. And it's like Here's the thing I did explain to one person who was really hard on it. Oh, that Zack guy that we've talked to on our Marvel stuff.
Oh, sure.
You've interacted with him too. He was really hard on it. And we have a mutual friend that he was going in on. And I go, Zack, hold on a second, okay? These guys here are Zack Snyder fans, okay? So imagine it like this. Imagine if we got the Horse Heresy, or the Horse Heresy movie was coming out, okay? Yeah. And it was going to be this great thing done by Aaron Dembski Bowden, which is one of our favorite authors. At the last minute, Aaron Dembski Bowden is like kind of pushed out, and he also kind of bows out together, you know, like it's a mutual thing. And they bring in some hack-ass writer. Now, I don't even want to say that, but they bring in some other writer, and the movie is a disaster. And the Horse Heresy movie is a disaster. Yeah. Then you fast forward a couple years, and he's able to go back and not only do his movie, but balloon it to 4 or 5 hours, right? Yeah. Because if it was released by Zack Snyder, there's no way it would have been over 2.5 hours. I hate to break it to Snyder fans out there. Yeah. It'd have been a 2.5 hour movie, and you would have been disappointed with it. So instead, this
was a little bit of a confluence of a lot of forces for it to be this long.
Right, right, exactly. It really boils down to the fucking pandemic. That's really what it all boils down to. But give me your
great
opinion.
Marketing too. Yeah. The whole like release the Snyder cut, like that was very intelligent marketing on the play of a lot of people in the industry who wanted this to happen.
Yes.
So full disclosure, this may come of no surprise, but I have no love for Snyder. 300 came out. I liked 300. I was also very young. And then
impressionable.
Yeah, impressionable. You know, this was early on in full CG movies, and it was very stylistic, which I really liked. But then Sucker Punch I thought was fucking terrible. Watchmen, I have talked more shit about Watchmen than probably any movie I've ever talked about. Because I like the...
it's a terrible movie.
It's a terrible adaptation,
yes. But like the writer of the thing said, this is unfilmable, don't film it. Yeah. And Zack Snyder was like, challenge accepted.
Yeah, and then he failed that challenge. Yep. I had a lot of love for Watchmen. Like that was one of my comics growing up, and so the movie was not great, and I was very vocal about that. And then the Man of Steel came out, and I liked Man of Steel. In fact, to this day, I like Man of Steel. Man of Steel to me, because I was not a Superman fan. I actually didn't grow up with any DC comics. I didn't have any exposure to them outside of normal pop culture. And so, like, I had never seen a Superman movie. I saw the Superman Returns, you know, the movie that came out in, like, 2005, I think. You know what I'm talking about?
I know which
the one with Kevin Spacey as the bad guy, as Lex Luthor.
It's really bad.
Yeah, and I didn't like that one. You know, I barely remember it even, but I remember I saw it in the theaters. And because that was a continuation of Christopher Reeve's...
they even twisted it so that it was supposed to take place after Superman 2, so Superman 3 and 4 never happened.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. And so I didn't have any exposure to Superman, so I saw Man of Steel, and I was just like, okay, cool. Like a hard-ass Man of Steel, you know? And the first 2 acts of that movie, I think, are like fun as fuck even now, because I just love those origin stories for big superheroes.
Yeah.
Like that.
The Krypton stuff is cool.
Yeah, the Krypton stuff especially. And then it just gets a little samey, a little mediocre in the third act. But okay, whatever, you know.
Weird that Zack Snyder does that, because it's almost like that happened again.
And then BVS came out, and I saw BVS, and I was just like, wow, this is real bad.
So here's
I did not enjoy it even when I was watching.
I didn't hate it until I watched Civil War.
Okay.
And then when I watched Civil War, I was like, oh no, this is how you do that. That movie fucking sucked.
Yeah, for sure. And so Batman vs. Superman I thought was very bad. Very bad. And then Justice League, I couldn't believe how bad that movie was. When I walked out of that theater, I was just like, this was a monumental failure. This is a failure on historic proportions.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, I never even saw Green Lantern, so I can't talk shit about it. But like, I was like, this is gonna be known as one of the biggest failures of all time, because you've got these incredibly known commercialized properties, and you failed them. You were literally given gold, and you somehow turned it into shit. And then Wonder Woman came out. I wasn't happy with Wonder Woman. I thought it was fine. I remember hating Wonder Woman especially because it kept getting compared to Marvel movies. They were just like, this is as good as any Marvel movie. And I'm just like, no, it's better than the bullshit that you've had so far, but it's not as good as any Marvel movie. And you know, by this point I was already a pretty big Marvel fan. Yeah, for sure. I was a Marvel simp, sure. And then Aquaman came out, and I was really fucking not happy with Aquaman. And then Shazam came out, and I was just like, that might be the second most talked shit movie up in my life. I talk a lot of shit about Shazam because I think it was a baby movie for babies. And I make fun of you for liking it as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And then Zack Snyder's cut was coming out. And so, okay, man, let's watch a 4 fucking hour bloated ass fucking Zack Snyder movie. So I watched it, and I fucking loved this fucking movie. I fucking love this movie. I watched this shit, and I was like, this might be one of the coolest things I've ever watched, ever. Like, just generally. I fucking love this shit so much. I couldn't get enough of it.
Stop. Hold on. Fuck, it is March 23rd. I thought for a second it was April 1st, and I just fucking got a little bit ahead of myself.
Yeah.
You know, here, but like, what?
Yeah, this was one of the coolest movie cinematic experiences I've ever watched. I think this could have only been done if they either took more time leading up to it, or it was 4 hours long. And okay, well, you went the 4 hour long route, but holy shit. So I'm watching this movie, half an hour in, I'm just like, this is pretty good. I mean, at some point they're going to shit the bed, but this is pretty good. And an hour in, I was just like, oh boy, I'm really enjoying this shit. Like, I kept checking the time, and I'm like, how the fuck have I been enjoying an hour of this? I thought this was supposed to be bad. At an hour and a half, I'm like, okay, this movie has bought good graces for me. It has bought my trust. I am now excited to see what comes next, just because of the first half hour, or hour and a half, I mean. By 2.5, at 3 hours, right? Because I was talking to my cousins at this time. I was asking them, I was just like, has anybody seen the Snyder Cut? What are your ideas here? Because I'm really enjoying this. At 3 hours, I'm like, it's gonna be really hard for them to shit the bed in the last half hour. Like, I don't know, or I mean in the last hour, I don't know how they're going to fail in the last half hour. I don't know how Zack Snyder's gonna not stick the landing, but I'd be surprised, because holy shit have I liked it up until now. And then when the movie was over, I was just like, that's about as close to a perfect fucking movie as I've ever watched. I would rate this as high as anything Marvel has ever made. I would rate this as one of my favorite superhero things I've ever watched.
I'm stopping. All right. I see what has happened to you.
Oh, boy.
You were so disappointed
No.
end of WandaVision.
No, this is not the case.
It allowed you to fall into this ridiculous...
Stop.
What the fuck did you love about this movie?
So I was thinking a lot about this while I was watching it, because I was just like, oh my God, how the fuck am I the one that's going to be like defending this fucking Zack Snyder fucking 4 hour long bullshit?
All jokes aside here, I had messaged you at one point, and I was fucking furious with how bad this movie was.
Usually, okay, so the people know how the sausage is made. Usually, Jason and I have a full ban from talking to each other.
Yeah, we don't talk about anything until the day we sit down and talk about it.
And so he messaged me randomly about how much he fucking hated this shit. And I was
an hour in, and I was so fucking pissed that I had to watch 3 more hours of it.
And while I was watching, I was just like, how the fuck am I even going to explain why I like this movie? But I think my explanation is, the one problem I think I had with Justice League. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I guess I had a lot of problems. A lot of it was pretty dog shit. But one of the biggest complaints that I had was that they weren't taking their time with anything, and I didn't give a shit about anyone. I didn't care about Cyborg. I didn't care about the Flash. In fact, I thought the Flash was a fucking clown, and I hated it. And I really, really hated that. Most of the time, all of them kind of just seemed like they were bumbling around, not doing anything of importance. And then at the end of the movie, Superman comes in and just wins for them, and then that's it. Yeah. I was like, wow, what a terrible fucking movie that was. Yeah. There's a scene where, like, the Flash saves some people out of the city. Yeah. And I was just like, this is a bad movie. This movie that I just saw, these 4 hours... They took their fucking time and made me care about every single character. I cared about them. There were legitimate moments where I was emotional, like where I was crying. With every single one of them except for, I think, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was the only one. No, that's not even true. Wonder Woman's first scene where she saves the kids and shit, like, I felt that emotion. I was super happy.
You mean when she murders the fuck out of that guy in front of all those kids?
Oh my God, that was so fucking cool. So I think the thing that I really loved about this movie was, one, that they took their time and made me care about all the characters, and two, that they really made them all feel like gods in a way that the Marvel universe doesn't really. The Marvel universe is all like, they're in front of you and they're beating you up, but that's, they're very terrestrial.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, all of the Zack Snyder, all the DC heroes are all literally gods, and they feel it. When any of them are doing anything, I'm like, my hair was blown back. I was so happy to be watching a cinematic experience of, like, this kind of caliber. And so, yeah, man, I know it's blowing your fucking mind, but the fact that I got to spend 4 hours in this universe uninterrupted was one of the coolest fucking things, dude. I could have done another 4 hours of this shit.
I guess I get it, only in the sense that, like, you love world building and world,
a ton of it. That's my favorite thing.
Rolling around.
Yes.
And, like, I want to get to
the fucking redo. I remember when I saw pictures of the redo Steppenwolf, because Steppenwolf was such a fucking dog shit character in Justice League when I first saw it. And when they did a CGI redo, I was just like, he still looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
I take that back. It was so cool. I loved that fucking bad guy. I loved how, like he was trying to prove himself. I loved how, like, really monstrous he was compared to most of the stuff that was happening. And when Superman came back at the end, last time I was just like, this is unearned. This is bullshit. This is such a Deus Ex Machina. This time I was just like in awe of Superman and how fucking badass he was. Oh man.
Okay, so I'm
like giddy from how much I enjoyed this fucking 4 hours.
I hated Steppenwolf's design.
The new one.
The new one.
Okay.
I felt as though it was just a ripoff of Destroyer from Thor.
I don't even know what that is.
You watched Thor. It's in Thor.
The
it's almost
guy?
the exact same suit. No,
Sure, okay.
Destroyer is the suit from the first movie where it shows up in the town and he has to fight against it.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I mean, it's like
the iron face with the solar thing.
Although
I didn't even think about that one.
It's different in the comics than it is in the movie. The comic is more similar to this.
It's more spiky.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, like, they did so I'm going to give them credit for one thing. Like, Zack Snyder does a good job of I don't even want to say this, like, because, like, okay, you know what, like, it's hard for me to give this movie credit because it was 4 hours and going, oh, well, you were able to tell a story. Of course you were. You had 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I think BVS could have been just the same level if it was 4 hours.
If it was 4 hours, yeah.
Right. So, like,
you know what this made me think? Only give me 4 hour movies from now on.
So,
I would love to be able to have this experience repeated. Okay. I would fucking pay crazy money for that. I loved this.
Do you know, you've seen Saving Private Ryan, of course.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And you've seen some episodes of Band of Brothers.
Yes.
And I just watched an episode of Band of Brothers yesterday. And I was thinking to myself, because I had watched some other World War II thing earlier, like, what's the difference with the Stephen Ambrose stuff, the Band of Brothers and all that shit, and, like, the normal World War II thing? And I kind of think I nailed what it was last night.
Okay.
Tom Hanks, that crew, Steven Spielberg, them, like, put a filter over it almost, like a brown filter that makes it more gritty, more real, like you're in the shit rather than it's just a movie being felt. And I feel like Zack Snyder does that thing with comic book characters. Okay. Not brown technically, but like he visualizes this shit. So, like,
absolutely,
I hate Zack Snyder's style.
Yeah,
and I realized that in this movie.
Yeah.
His over-exaggerated use of slow motion infuriates me.
Dude, that was the exact opposite for me. Usually I hate Zack Snyder's slow-mo bullshit. Like, I'm just like, okay, some more Zack Snyder slow-mo bullshit. In this movie, I was just
like... He used it all the time.
I know. In this movie, every time it would slow down and there'd be some crazy music and some superhero would be doing some godlike shit. I was just like, this is fucking hitting so perfectly. It was like everything he had done was just practice for this. And this is the one time he did it perfectly. I was so happy.
This cast is blowing my mind. because I'm building to something that's gonna be earth shattering in a little bit. Okay,
yeah.
I want to talk about the Zack Snyder simps for a minute. The idiots on the internet trying to explain to me that only one shot was reshot, or there was only one new shot, and Josh Whedon only used 5% of the original movie. I'm calling bullshit on all that. Mm-hmm. This had so much addition to it. Yeah. It's silly to act like this is...
Yeah, for sure.
And two, at the same
like an entirely different
time,
movie.
It still had the skeleton of what was the movie that actually was released earlier. So it's like, to act as though Zack Snyder reshot 95% of the movie is silliness. Because Joss Whedon. Yeah. Sorry. Every scene that was in that original movie, for the most part, was in this movie. Like, other than like a couple things that were added. I was also blown away by how much of the comedy was clearly Zack Snyder, because it was still in the movie.
Sure.
Like, I figured...
But I liked some of that, giving more explanation as to who the characters were. I didn't like Ezra Miller's Barry.
Yeah.
Or Barry.
Whatever. No, what is it? I forgot which one it is. He is, which Flash he is.
I thought it was, I don't know. It might be a different last name, but I didn't like that Flash. I thought that Flash was a really cringy Flash. I cringed watching it the first time, but this time you gave me two scenes that were super important: the scene with his dad, which made me tear up, and the scene where he saved that girl from the car accident, which made me tear up. And so, I loved it, dude. I loved it.
The hot dog scene!
I love that fucking hot dog scene. It was so cool.
Dude, you know why I like that hot dog scene? You came here to trigger me tonight.
No.
There's no way you honestly feel this way.
You know why I like that fucking hot dog scene? Because it was so, like, he seemed genuine. As soon as that, like, truck was coming, and then that, like, lightning flash happened, and he started running, and his shoes ripped off, and he just touched the glass, and it just almost liquefied. I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing. That's when it started buying its good faith for me. Because that's why I said about an hour and a half into it, it had bought so much good faith that I was like, there's no way that this movie can make me... Like, it's bought so much good faith now. Now I'm just, eagerly waiting for the rest. Yeah. And I don't know if that obviously that influenced it, but by the end, I was happy with all of it. There was nothing that had made me unhappy. I was so fucking happy that this thing existed. I'm so happy right now that I get to rewatch this again. Because I liked all of them.
I was going to rewatch this movie to better articulate my issues with it and all that stuff here.
Yeah.
Turn it on, turn it off almost instantly. I was like, I'm not doing this again for 4 hours.
For sure, yeah.
Because I remember at the end of 4 hours just being like...
exhausted.
I'm done with this. Not only that, like, dude, you need to be... If you're a 4-hour movie, a friend of mine put it the best. Like, you can't be a decent movie at 4 hours.
No.
You need to be Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Extended Edition.
Sure, yeah.
This movie...
Yeah, if this movie wasn't blowing my fucking mind, I would have been really angry.
What?
For 4 hours, dude.
Why did it need so many endings, too? It just kept on ending.
Oh, but so by the end, right? I told you. I could have done another 4 hours of this. If they were just like, now we're going to show you this alternate situation.
The nightmare scene stuff?
Yeah.
I hated that so much.
It's going to be another 4 hours of this explanation. I would have been like, okay, yeah, man. Yeah, we'll do it.
The nightmare scene made me so angry. Yeah. Like, I was so, like, almost ready to, like, turn off.
You know what made me angry? That the one lantern that they showed was kind of a bitch-ass lantern.
He dies the dark side.
Yeah, but, like, he was just kind of, like, shooting beams, you know? I would have liked to see any construct.
Yeah, I guess, like...
Even a poor construct.
I read that, like, Zack Snyder wanted to bring... Ryan Reynolds back into this and like work him into this movie too, and then they just like ran out of time and money or whatever. But I was also shocked by how bad, like, they needed more money clearly, because like the CGI was not great in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, I agree. The CGI was pretty not great in a lot of scenes. There was a lot of stuff where you were just like, wow, this is some CGI.
The Martian Manhunter shit, I wanted to throw, like, when there's that scene with like Martha talking to Lois, I was like, what the fuck is the point in this bullshit? Then when it turned out that it wasn't even Martha, it was Martian Manhunter, I was even more angry. Like, this makes even less fucking sense, dude.
But why would that not make sense?
Dude, so Martian Manhunter's like, we need you.
No. Not the Martian Manhunter thing. Why wouldn't it make sense to you that Martha was visiting Lois?
I just felt like...
I thought that was a really cute scene.
I mean, because she's like, you need to get over my son's death.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because Lois is like grieving hard as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it.
Those characters, all that character stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so a lot of the complaints that I heard leading up into the movie was, holy shit, does this take its time showing you a lot of stuff that's unnecessary. Mm-hmm. But when I was watching it, I loved all that. Yeah,
because you love overabundance of world building.
Character moments like that were what made me care. The reason that I gave a shit during the big stuff was because in those small moments, I saw their pain. When they did the cyborg background story, dude, I loved that.
So the one thing I gave comment to that I liked was I liked Cyborg having a much deeper, better backstory.
Because I cared. I knew him. In the other movie,
the football scenes so much. They made me so mad. The football scenes, because it was okay. Here's how I explain this movie best to other people. I love Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay.
The reason I love Wolf of Wall Street is because I love Martin Scorsese.
Okay.
It is bloated as fuck, and it really just is white collar Goodfellas bloated.
Okay.
If you're not a fan of Martin Scorsese, that's pretty much how you're going to feel about it. This is an overabundance of shit. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way about this movie. If you love Zack Snyder, it's going to be with you. I know, but now clearly, you might.
No,
you like his style.
I mean, if he gives me some more of this quality,
you like his style though. Like, how can you not like the other stuff? If you're like the slow mo, the overdone,
but it was like I said. The only way you do this movie right is if you set it up well for 10 years and you give everybody a movie and you make them care, or you do it in 4 hours. And then, so he, like I said, he went the 4-hour route. If all of the movies he had done, like you said, right, if he did BVS, but BVS was 4 hours long and it was this meticulous, I might have actually really fucking liked that. I think the reason that I didn't like those was because they were just like too much, nothing fucking makes sense. The first time I saw Justice League, it was too much, nothing fucking makes sense. Nobody matters, nobody cares, who gives a shit? This movie, everything that happened, I felt was earned. It was earned in one very long 4-hour experience, but it was earned. And so, like, I was already sitting there watching the fucking movie. I'm not going to complain about sitting there for 4 hours. I decided I was going to do it. The only moment I would decide that it was a valid complaint to complain about a 4-hour long thing is if I didn't have time to watch it. And I was just like, well, I'm not going to fucking watch 4 hours. Where am I going to fit that in my day? But I can fit it in my day. And I did fit it in my day. And it was I'm
going to give it credit for one thing. I didn't feel like it was a long 4 hours. That's what I do want to say. Like, I felt like the movie, it definitely didn't feel like a 2-hour movie. I'm gonna make that fucking clear. It's not like it's racing through or some shit like that, like some other movies I've watched. It definitely felt over the normal limit, but honestly, I felt like it was about a 3-hour movie or something like that. That's how the feel made me feel.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, that's to say it was still long, and in the end, you know what I really feel like with this movie?
Yeah,
unneeded. Like that is my.
Dude, I feel the exact opposite.
Yeah,
I think that if they would have never done this movie, I would have always hated the fucking Justice League. I would have always thought about them as some clown ass shit because I have clowned on them a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, and this movie was needed if you wanted to have my reaction out of some fans.
Yeah.
Out of people who hated your shit, now they're just like, well, me specifically, I'm like, dude, like I said, this is one of the coolest superhero things I've ever just
That's awesome. There. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'll say what I
enjoyed it like crazy. Also, Darkseid, right?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Darkseid.
Yeah.
Darkseid was in the fucking first movie, was he? I didn't even know that Steppenwolf wasn't the big bad. I thought that Steppenwolf was like the leader.
No, Steppenwolf. So in the original, he does like make mention to Darkseid and stuff like that. Yeah, like he's working for Darkseid and shit.
You,
But yeah, it's definitely not. They way overdid. I thought that was another thing that was kind of overdone. Is like how much they use Darkseid in this movie. It would have been like, you know what I would equate it to? Like watching the first Guardians of the Galaxy and like seeing Thanos like 4 or 5 times instead of the one time we actually like deal with him.
Sure, yeah.
Like I feel like that's just overdone. And like he like showed, I mean like
because this had a very Thanos Ronin kind
of course exact same storyline. And I mean even at the end he's like. It reminded me so much of the scene where Thanos like grabs the gauntlet and he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. Because he's like, we'll do it the old fashioned way. And then they walk off to go get in their shit.
Why didn't they just walk through?
The boom tube?
Yeah.
because it was like breaking down or whatever. He has to invade with his whole force.
Oh, okay, sure.
So,
and was the mother box keeping it open?
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
So in the first iteration, the mother box was the silliest Deus Ex Machina I had ever heard of. It seemed like the lamest, dumbest shit.
Yeah,
I was just like, what the fuck?
And now you liked it.
I loved the fucking mother box.
Okay, so
all the scenes where he was like looking for it and
you know what
fighting
you've done.
for it.
You know what you've done to me, but like, okay, as we've talked about this, you talking about it, I'm like thinking to myself, man, maybe he's right. Maybe this was, but then I stop myself because I'm like, no. You know what? It reminds me of like when I talk to other people about Transformer films, and I'm like, dude, it was this, and like. I only remember while I regurgitated the cool shit from the Transformers films, and then I rewatch them, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is all garbage except for those scenes. And that's how I feel about this. Like there were absolutely scenes that I thought were cool. Like the Darkseid stuff was cool. Some Amazonian stuff was cool. Aquaman I thought was really bad. Like I thought it was much worse than the original. I really hated the Flash. I liked Cyborg a lot. I was indifferent to Superman. I thought it was better than the Justice League version of Superman, but I was overall indifferent.
It was a lot better than the Justice League Superman.
Yeah. I agree.
And
Alfred I thought was better in this too.
Okay, sure. I didn't have any strong feelings.
You were
about
indifferent
Alfred. And in fact, I kind of didn't like Batman.
That's another thing. So here's the thing that I really dislike about this film in general. And somebody like argued with me online, and well, technically in this one book he did. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of Batman putting this team together, the Justice League together in general.
Sure,
He's just not the character that would do that.
I agree. Yeah, wholeheartedly. Because I liked Batman in his characterization. I just didn't like any of the things he was doing.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind Ben Affleck as Batman. I think he looks the part.
Yeah.
And I think that he carries a certain weight to him that I really enjoy. And watching him beat the fuck out of people was pretty cool. But the things he was doing and saying kind of just seemed a little deflated. Yeah. It almost didn't feel like in his conversations he had much gravitas.
You know what he reminded me of this? And it reminded me very much because of the Wonder Woman character. It reminded me a lot of Watchmen with Silk Spectre and Night Owl. Is that that whole stuff was like so similar in this version of the Justice League.
I agree wholeheartedly with that.
And he's even working on the machine, like, you know, throughout, because like that was the same thing with the Night Owl or whatever the fuck his name is.
I wonder. I mean, he must have taken inspiration from
I'm sure he did that movie.
Sure.
So
yeah. But that's what I mean. I feel like he just probably he was like, you know what, I don't give a shit if I'm similar to other things.
It a little bit.
I don't fucking care. I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And like nothing was stopping him. He had no like board, stopping him from doing whatever he wanted. So he just made whatever movie he wanted. That last scene with the nightmare stuff.
Yeah.
That conversation that he has with the Joker. So one of the things that is weird about the way that I've enjoyed or that I disliked all of the DC stuff up until now was that weirdly where the DC Joker or the DCEU Joker got a ton of hate. I weirdly really liked him in the tiny little scene that we saw in Suicide Squad because he was like really memed on the internet pretty fucking hard because of all of his cringe tattoos that he had on him. And then his characterization, when I saw him, I was fully expecting it to be cringe. And it ended up being terrifying. Like, one of the things that I used to say after Suicide Squad was, that's the scariest Joker to me. Not the best portrayal of Joker, but that's the one Joker that if I knew I lived in the same city as that Joker, I wouldn't fucking live in that city. Every other Joker, I've always just been like, okay, he's as a villain to the bad guy, or to the good guy, they're good or bad or whatever. But Jared Leto's Joker seemed unfucking hinged. Like, any place that you are could just blow up because that Joker was just that crazy. And so, watching his conversation at the end of this one, especially when Batman's like, I will fucking kill you, like he was like that fucking dead serious about it, I really loved that back and forth. That Joker seemed like a good foil. I loved that characterization.
You know what's so coincidental with you saying that is I felt the exact same way with the Suicide Squad. I was like, I don't get why people hate this. I mean, he's different, but like he's his like gangster Joker, right? Yes, that was I was perfectly fine with that. And then I watched this one, and I fucking hated it so much. It was ridiculous. I was like, now I see why everybody hates this fucking Joker. This Joker is lame as fuck to me. Like, just the way he's like, like trying to wax political,
dude, I
hated it so much.
I liked how, like, because he was over the top, like way over the top, like insane over the top. And yeah, he's the Joker. He's not if he was any more regular, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
I wanted him to be this crazy, taking my time, and you're just going to have to listen to me talk. Because what the fuck else is you gonna do with your time, Like, he's an insane human being. He'll take as much time as he fucking wants. I loved that.
So
his dumbass fucking laugh, where he's just like, kind of like...
The seagull laugh.
Yeah, the lazy... I fucking love that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but also, by then, it was 4 hours of buying good faith for me. So, I was just clapping. At the end, I stood up out of my chair. I was clapping. I had tears in my eyes. I went out and bought roses so that I could throw them on my computer.
I canceled my HBO subscription. Clearly, I didn't do that. I love it, you HBO. I'm just kidding. So, I'm going to say something here now.
Yeah.
So, this has led now to restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
If they give him 4 hours every time, then yeah. It's 4 hours and no board control.
I heard a rumor on the internet.
Sure.
I've tried to detach myself more and more from this shit. I've unfollowed pages and removed myself from DC stuff. The talk might be we could see some kind of television series. Okay, so that would be a series, so you would have 5, 6, 7 hours or something like that of his stuff.
So here's the thing, though. I think the thing that made this what it is was that he got to tell whatever story he wanted without any kind of influence.
Sure. Real Tarantino.
Just like, here's some money. Who gives a fuck what you do with it? I don't care anymore. Yeah. We're not going to lose on this.
Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what Fox did with Deadpool. Here's $70 million. Get the fuck out of our face.
Yes, exactly.
Did you just make $800 million off that? Deadpool 2.
Yeah. But the problem is, I don't think in any fucking universe that gets to happen again.
Of course not.
I think from this point forward, if Zack Snyder wants to make more stuff, then there's going to be more fucking hands in the cookie jar again. More cooks in the kitchen.
Not only that, the issue is, like, from what I've read so far, and the Snyder fans can post on here and blast me all they want to, there's no indication that HBO has seen any uptick in subscribers or anything of that nature, okay?
And so also,
it could trend all it wants to on the internet and stuff like that. That doesn't mean shit to Warner Brothers.
Because
Warner
they're
Brothers
not seeing money.
That's all they give a fuck about. If HBO subscriptions would jump by like 1.5 million or 2 million and start like rivaling Disney Plus or something like that, then you would clearly see them try to push to get Zack in. And who knows? Maybe they wouldn't try to, like, because Fox was like, Deadpool 2, do what you guys want to do. Yeah. The only difference is we wanted a summer release. Sure. And that kind of almost bit them in the ass because it barely made any more money in the summer than it did.
Yeah, more money, but it still made crazy money.
Yeah, it made like... It was definitely not as good as the release for them for the first one, but
I think my issue though is that the big consensus with everybody that's watched this movie is this was poorly paced.
Yeah.
This was a lot of shit we didn't need.
Right.
And that's the thing I liked.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're going to give me...
Yeah, like Warner Brothers probably, I don't know.
Exactly. If you're going to give me a show, I bet you they're going to really be like, hey, can we get rid of all that unnecessary shit? And that's... give me more of the unnecessary shit. I think that the reason that this...
I don't know about that, man. If they do it as an HBO show... Think about, like, Watchmen or something like that. There was all kinds of just extra story building for story building's sake.
Yeah, was there?
Yeah, absolutely. Go rewatch it again.
Sure,
and there's a lot of extra story building that barely just filled in the world.
Yeah, I guess the drug scene where she goes back in time, the memory scene, that was a lot of stuff.
I mean, even the Looking Glass stuff was just added extra stuff. He was a side character, and he had an entire episode.
Dude, he was such a cool side character. I was just like, dude, wasn't he supposed to be a bigger thing?
Yeah.
No, he was just a cool side character.
Yeah, so like I think you could absolutely. I mean, I want to put my chips on the table here.
Yeah.
If they restore the Snyderverse, I'm pretty much anyways. I'm done with DC.
Oh.
I'm pretty much done with DC today. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I am. People can call me childish. You can jump on and call me juvenile, childish. Yeah. Zach, you especially.
Yeah.
I'm a Marvel guy now.
Oh.
I'm done with DC, bro.
Interesting.
I enjoy Marvel.
Yeah.
I sometimes enjoy DC.
Sure.
So I'm done with this. Yeah. I'm done being the fucking guy that's going to like the hold
the
out
apologist.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm over it.
So I wouldn't consider myself a DC guy.
Yeah,
I think that wow, nice job. I'll stand up and clap. You deserve.
Will you see the next DC thing?
But I will, yeah, of course, because they just bought Good Faith.
Excellent. They did what Marvel has done for you many times.
Well, no, Marvel did it over the course of 10 years consistently.
Yeah.
These guys haven't bought that same Good Faith.
Right.
These guys have done one cool, and now, I admit, I think they have done one of the coolest things I've ever seen, right?
Yeah. That is extravagant of a statement.
I had more endorphins rushing through my body watching this than almost anything I've ever experienced watching something, right? And so I do not think that that's going to continue. I think that the next time that the DC releases a movie like Black Adam or whatever, that Rock movie that's going to come out, I think that I'm going to go into
Suicide Squad. I think there's the next thing coming.
Oh, yeah. Expecting absolute dog shit. And I think that what I'm going to get will be absolute dog shit. But I will go see it based solely on the fact that they really did this one right in my eyes.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you my DC gear and you can start sporting that shit because I'm washing my hands of it.
Yeah, you're full Marvel now.
Yeah, I'm fully on Marvel now, man. I am. It's over with for me, man. Sure. You know what? They could do something crazy like, tomorrow. You know what? I don't want to say that because I am still really looking forward to the Batman. But that's it. That's the only thing I'm looking for. I expect Suicide
Robert
Squad 2 to be
Batman.
Yeah, it's just finished. So
I can't wait.
Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah,
I expect a pile of shit.
Yeah, of course. I think Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is cringe. And that's one of the things that I don't like.
Okay, so I totally like. There's no one I could dude. To me, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is literally Harley Quinn jumping off the page. It's Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Yeah. There are very few Robert Downey Jr.
Perfect one-to-ones.
Yes, it is so right. And so that that it just tells me you're not a fan of Harley Quinn, which is perfectly fine.
And that is, But, I think the thing that made me like this movie more than you like these movies is that I had zero expectations for what these characters are supposed to be.
Sure.
These characters just were what they were to me in this moment, and I loved them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's about it, bros. What can I say? This was a special. The next special we'll be doing is what? Black Widow in a couple months?
Yeah. I think they just announced that they're going to be doing that on Disney Plus. Too.
Yeah, but I'm going to see it in the theater.
Yeah, me too.
I'll have my shot by then and everything. Yeah. I hope you guys out there are getting your shot. Unless you have a phone with 5G already on it, then you're good to go. But if you don't have 5G on your phone, please get your COVID shots.
Go get those COVID shots. I'm ready to go back to the theaters.
Hell yeah, boys.
All right, everybody. Tune in. I think tomorrow we're got a new show coming.
We got a bunch of releases this week, so just keep tuning in.
Yeah, tune in this week. We've got a lot of stuff. Have a great night.